So you're the famous Elisa Kotin.
Well, thank you very much. I like to think of myself as Elisa, but that'll work too.
we have been dying to meet you. Someone said that you've been over, what, 100, 200 different countries. Is that right?
One day I actually hope that maybe I'll get to that. I've been to over 80 countries.
That's fascinating. I get nervous when I'm leaving outside of California. How does one get to the point where you're actually traveling all over the planet pretty much by yourself?
One of the things that I love most about travel is being on my own, because it gives me the opportunity to actually meet the locals. When I took my very first trip, it was in 1989. I was 22 years old. And I remember so vividly meeting two girls on the road. One had gotten pickpocketed and they were fighting. Another couple was fighting. One wanted to go here, one wanted to go there. I was backpacking by myself for 2 months. I was meeting awesome people. I could travel with them for as long as I wanted to. We'd split up, maybe meet up in another country. And I really just found it very comfortable to go off and explore on my own, and it really gave me the opportunity to meet people from the place that I was visiting.
Now, how does one actually prepare themselves for all the different experiences, the cultural differences? I hear that the food, everything is such a shock when you get outside and you get into those situations. How does one prepare themselves for all those things? How do you do that? I have no idea.
I think it's interesting because I think people have a really interesting perspective on what they think travel is going to be when they get somewhere new and someplace different. But think about it, when we start a new job, it's someplace new and different. And when we go to a new city, it's someplace new and different. So I think we have to embrace what we enjoy the most.
Oh.
And when you go somewhere, you want to try and explore those activities and be open-minded.
Oh,
and you can't go with any a preconception of what you're going to experience.
Exactly.
Or what's going to happen. You just have to be open to whatever may come, because if there's one thing I've learned about travel, nothing is predictable. You can plan to be on one plane and plan the train trip to be 2 hours, and nothing ever, it just doesn't work out that way. So you have to be open and very flexible.
What was your first trip? Is there a memorable moment when you actually started out on this journey of yours?
The first trip that I took was to Europe. I spent 2 months going through Europe on my own, and my zest for travel really didn't come from that trip. It came a few years later when I spent 2 months in Indonesia, and it was when I visited Indonesia and Singapore that I really found that I had a real cultural interest in the people, the music, the kids. That's when I really started getting into what made travel so special for me.
And how did you know? It sounded like you were bitten by the travel bug with that particular trip. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it started with that. And then my next trip, I knew Africa was going to be my next destination. And that took me 3 years to save up and go. And I spent 2 months, and I started in Morocco, and I went to Egypt, and then I went to on safari in Kenya and Tanzania, and then down to Zimbabwe. So I plan all my own trips. I do all my research. I look at different towns and villages and cities, and I spend the time before I go away to get a feel for what I'm trying to get out of it. And then when I get there, I really have to be open for changes to be made, but I have an idea of what kind of things interest me the most. Through the years, the road narrows. Like, you learn what you're really passionate about. I'm very passionate about music. I'm very passionate about dance and the children. I love to go to orphanages and visit with kids. I sing to kids all over the world. I've taught to kids duck, duck, goose all over the world. So
okay, wait a minute. What is that? What is that? Now you're throwing out some things that just went right over my head. What is that? Duck, duck, goose.
Okay, so when you're a kid and you play the game and you go around the circle, the kids are duck, duck, duck,
exactly.
And you play goose and they run around.
Right.
So I've learned duck and goose in whatever language of whatever country
I'm really?
in, and I get the kids in the circle, and I slowly try and show them by running around. I jump down, and then before I know it, I've started groups. I remember I had a group in Ghana. I had asked my driver, it was just a driver and I asked him to stop at a very remote village.
Oh, okay.
And he had never even been there before.
Oh.
And so we stop at this village and I get like 3 children. And I've got these 3 kids and we're in a little circle. And then a few more kids because they were scared, and then they came over. And then the adults started coming. I ended up with a circle so huge. There must have been 60 people in this circle, and we're all playing duck, duck, goose. Like, it was absolutely fantastic.
Now, let me ask you a question. Now, a lot of us, we can't relate to the idea, as I mentioned before, of casting aside all the things that we identify as our roots. We get connected to the neighborhood, to the people, to the schools where we live. But in your situation, you somehow separate yourself. You travel all over the world. And you seem to be more comfortable traveling. Is that true?
You know, that's interesting because I don't think I separate myself from how I'm rooted and grounded. I'm born and raised in Los Angeles, California. I've lived in California my entire life, and it is where I call home. I just haven't made home the only place that I want to be.
Oh, okay.
And I like to venture out. So I have I'm very exploratory in nature, and I have a zest for life and a thirst for new cultures, and I really like the territories that are destinations that are less explored and visited, and so I'm just comfortable in both sides of the coin.
Okay, now we have a lot of people here they're just begging to ask you, how do we prepare? What do we do to become the next world traveler like Elisa Kotin? Now, what do we do?
You know, just the first thing that anybody really has to have is a desire to go someplace new. Whether it's a new city, next door, whatever it is.
Oh, okay.
You have to want to experience something different than what you're familiar with.
Right.
Because that's how you're going to soak it in. Whether it's eating food, staying in a different type of hotel, staying in a different type of climate. What kind of housing do you want to be in? What do you want to experience from your destination? You know, even my trips, some have been as long as 6.5 months in an area in the South Pacific.
Exactly.
But even that's not going to give me enough time to do everything.
Oh,
so
okay.
We have to kind of go with an idea of what are we most interested in. And that's different for every person. You know, there are a lot of shows on TV. Some focus on food. Some focus on...
Exactly.
You know, so we find what we're passionate about, and then one at a time we just set that dream and we set that bar and we create that, you know, that list, that wish list. And it's like anything else. I don't spend money on coffee. I don't go out to restaurants. I save my money for what's most important to me, and that's my next trip.
Now
you're
always
going to win out.
You're so in demand. We hear that there's literally a waiting list of people who are trying to book with you. And how do you manage your celebrity?
Well, first of all, thank you kindly for that.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. I think for me, you know, it's like any job or anything that we do. We set a priority and we try and share the same passion with the person who we're working with.
Oh, okay.
Whether we're selling something to someone, whether I'm selling a trip to somebody,
exactly.
whether I'm creating a slideshow presentation for a group, for a classroom. I want to make sure that what I can offer is what you want to be heard. And so as long as that's a match, that I'm in it 100% and I want to be there and share my experience to inspire. I mean, that's, if I can inspire someone to take a trip and just go get that passport.
Exactly.
And, you know, I help people, like I tell them, create a small shrine in their house. Take your first destination that you're the next destination you want to go to.
Oh, okay.
Put a picture of that place.
Exactly.
Put a little jar. Make a money can. Put a picture of it there. Something that inspires them. Every time you don't go to a coffee place or a restaurant, take the money, $10. Put it in that jar. It is amazing before we know it. The money is saved.
Exactly.
And you're on your way.
Let me ask you a question. Now, I hear your meetups are pretty much all sold out for the most part. And I imagine you will be doing more meetups in the future?
Yeah, I'm super excited. The meetup group has really taken off by storm. Like, It's growing leaps and bounds.
Wow.
We have at least one meeting a month. It's hard for me to get in more than
Exactly.
that, as much as I would like to. And so I'm limited, like the venues that I have had limited space. So
how do we sign up?
Sign up right away. So it's meetup.com/theworldtraveled.
Okay.
And you can sign up there. It's free to sign up. And then there's different topics and destinations and different things. This week we happen to be going to Roaring Nights at the LA Zoo.
Okay.
And we're doing that in just a few days. And we're going to go see the zoo
Wow.
at night. There's food trucks and there's music. So we try and get out. And even though it's not traveling someplace different,
okay,
it's getting out. And we're a bunch of globally minded people that are getting together. And I'm super excited to announce that as of yesterday, I have just been designated the Los Angeles ambassador for Internations, which is a global community of expats and global-minded individuals.
Okay, you guys heard it here first, okay? We have an exclusive, okay? Sounds like we have an exclusive. Elisa Kotin has announced right here that you are the ambassador. And
Los Angeles ambassador for Internations. So I'm very excited because I became a member of the organization in 2007.
Wow.
And I've been attending their events, and timing just, things come up at the right time.
Okay.
And it's a perfect fit. So I'm really excited. I'll actually be doing their social events.
Oh.
So I'll be creating a monthly networking event.
Fantastic. I'm going to put together a list of destinations for me and my crew and the people that work with us, okay, as soon as possible. We want you to help us.
Good.
And we want to somehow have you make life easier for us when we go out and travel. Now, let me ask you a question. If we want to get in contact with you, I love your website, by the way.
Thank you very much.
It looks like you guys, just so you know, Elisa Kotin, she has travel destinations every square inch of the planet, it looks like, on her website. And you can see her in Africa. You can see her in India. You can see her in Alaska and Antarctica, right?
Yeah.
And you have some amazing stories in terms of how you braved injury, pain, struggling.
That is true.
At the top of the world, or at the bottom of the world, wherever. But you have persevered, right?
Indeed. Yeah, I've had from cholera in Zimbabwe to broken toes in Bolivia and hiking Easter Island, and I was IV'd in Vietnam. I have so many stories of survival.
You're still here to talk about it.
I'm still here. I will continue to do that.
All right. Well, look, we don't want to take up all your time. Our viewers and our Twitters are overflowing, and the phone is ringing, and we don't want to keep you, but you got to give us. I imagine we're going to have in the show notes, you guys, all the contact information, email, social accounts, everything imaginable, so that you can quite possibly, if you're lucky, you're going to be able to book your next trip to some unknown destination on the planet. And I think Elisa has social cruises, medical vacations. I mean, she can hook you up with all of these things because she knows about it. So work with her staff and her partners, and maybe you too can become a world traveler.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. The easiest place to contact me is through my website, which is www.theworldtraveled.com.
Great.
Meetup.com/theworldtraveled.
Fantastic.
You can find me on Twitter and Facebook under @theworldtraveled. I have the YouTube channel as well.
Wow, okay.
And you can see my Pinterest page.
Okay.
I have Vimeo and, all of it.
You're all over the place.
And we're working on culturalfestivalguru.com.
Cultural Festival Guru.
So I'm very excited. So we're going to branch out, and that's hopefully going to be a specialty now of featuring cultural and teaching, bringing cultural festivals to the United States. That's
another breaking story, okay?
Very excited about this, guys.
Hashtag Cultural Festival Guru, okay? You heard it here, okay? So
that's it.
All right. Any departing words can you give to the up and comers, the young people who want to follow in your footsteps? Any last departing words can you give us for those people?
The best thing I can say is I have a motto, and that's be ready, pack, and go. And never be afraid.
Great. Wow.
Just pack and go. And as always, safe journey.
Love that smile. Okay, it's a pleasure. And we look forward to working with you, hearing from you in the near future. Let us know. Keep us posted, okay?
Absolutely. Looking forward forward to seeing you again
And
soon.
we'll have you back and do another show when you come back.
Can't wait.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Take care.